Hi, very good afternoon, everybody. So my presentation is about my people resilience assessment microgrids transitioning to multi-microgrids in rural areas. So, as you all know, the SDG 7, the Sustainable Development Goal 7, in the United Nations asks for reliable, sustainable energy for all, not just on the urban areas, but also in the rural areas as well. So most of the countries are getting further improve on giving supplies to the rural areas, especially with the introductions of renewable energy and microgrids. So even though there's increase of installations of microgrids and renewable energies on the rural areas, but is there reliable resilience towards any extreme events now? In urban areas, we know that we are getting more resilience due to analysis against extreme events. But how about the rural areas? We're just introducing electricity to them. So one of the occurrence of climate change evidence shows that in Malaysia, especially, we don't have any events of windstorm in last 10 decades. But within the 10 decades in 2011 until 2020, we have occurrence of windstorm event now due to the climate change. So one of the focus of my research are basically on the windstorm events to developing countries, especially like in Malaysia, how they can withstand or in terms of microgrids to withstand extreme events. So the methods that I'm using is to input the data from the network data, the distribution energy resources data, and also the windstorm data that I gathered all together to include in the resilience assessment. So, in exploring different microgrid configurations, so some papers have developed standalone microgrids. You have the multi-microgrids now, developed into multiple microgrids interconnected together, and then expand into grid connected. Using sequential Monte Carlo simulations, I've come up with the analysis of the reliability and resilience metrics assessment towards resilience on the microgrids configurations. So the first of input data which we need to know what is the network data that we need, especially on rural network. So how it's been installed, configured, and then we need to know where's the location. This is a real locations assessment, and we need to know what is the capacity of the ER and how is the limits towards the energy given to them per household. So every information we need to input on that. And then the distribution energy resources as well. In Malaysia, we normally go for PV. There's no wind because the wind there is not so high. During the coastal areas, windy one, the most highest wind is about 5 meters per second. So it's not so windy, but there's some windstorm events occurs in the area now. So more accurate for the equator areas. This is Malaysia located in the equator. So we are going to a solar PV installation. So there's a mass production of solar PV in Malaysia. And then, so on the windstorm data, we need to develop the propagations of the trajectories and also the reach and wind speeds of the windstorm that occurring from the coastal to the inland. in the assessment of the resilience, we have reliabilities and resistance as well. So for my research, I focus on reliability on the ENS, expected energy not supplied. And the resilience part, normally for the insurance companies or insurance research, focus on the VAR and CVAR, which is the tail. How fat is the tails of that distribution? So this is one of the focus area of the research, which is located in Sarawak, one part of the Malaysian countries. So in Sarawak, there's a lot of a lot of systems are standalone. It's not connected to the grid because it's too far, and it's quite difficult to install a grid connected to that area. So then the utility companies have developed a SARES project where they install a microgrid system in each of the villages. So it depends on how many villages, households there, so it will create the DR for that system. And they design the system so that it can withstand for 3 days without sun, especially for battery capacity. So then I try to determine if we try to convert or transit from the microgrids to multi-microgrids and then to grid connected. Is it the cost, is it high enough, or is it affordable, and can it withstand against any extreme events? So basically, to develop the research, I need to know which the area of interest and how far is the windstorm can reach. So then we'll develop the simulations of each trials. So each trials will do this kind of simulations to analyze the ENS, possible ENS of that area. So what I found out based on the simulations, so I gathered into the distribution curve for the standalone, for the multi-microgrids and the grid connected system, so of ENS. As you can see, it is reliable. If you go from standalone to the multi-microgrid system, it is, you can see the difference is there to watch. But for the multi-microgrids and grid connected, it's not too far. It's only it's there. So it might be because I need to increase more demands, because this is based on the demands of the SARES project. So if it's grid connected, means that the demand should be higher, so that it's showing the difference. So then, based on the results of cumulative density function, you can see there's a reliable proof that the system standalone coupled into multi-microgrids is giving more reliabilities to the system. But the system of standalone and multi-microgrids and grid connected is still tangible. So based on my conclusions that the grid connected, to quantify the results of MG and multi-MG transition to grid connected in rural areas, the proposed method demonstrates the process of analyzing windstorm impact towards the MG network. So using the multicolor simulations techniques for reliability and resilience performance assessment. So the result shows that although interconnecting MGs can enhance their reliability, but increased interconnectivity offer little benefits in terms of resilience, because they might have to be more robust in terms of the assets. So we might have a smart system to do a more resilient network. So my future works will have on the hardening enforcement and also increase the load demand to see the difference between both multi-microgrids and grid-connected. And also, the final part of my research should be to have multi-hazard resilient assessment modeling, which my groups are now going focused towards. So it means that we are combining the windstorms, the floods, and the landslides together as to assess on these